This one stat really concerns me about Justin Herbert's upcoming season.
Yeah, I don't wanna roll. Yeah, I don't wanna strap. Yeah, baby, hit me up. Yeah, baby, hit me back. Yeah.
Now, before you blindly rage comment simply because you read the title and are upset that someone actually had male genitalia large enough to criticize the white knight of the NFL, let me first concede that Herbert has been good. Actually, no, scratch that. He's been incredible. What he did as a rookie in 2020 may never be replicated ever again. He had a COVID-altered offseason and it didn't matter. He still put up an unprecedented season, and then the year after he showed it wasn't a fluke. And trust me, I'm fully aware of the amount of analysts who look dumb as shit predicting Herbert will be a bust, so I know there's a chance I get flamed for this video a year from now, but I wasn't even one of those people. I liked all the 2020 QBs during the draft process, so it's not like I'm holding some 2-year grudge on the dude. I just see this one stat being an issue if he cannot improve it. But enough rambling, let's get into exactly what I'm talking about and exactly what concerns me about Herbert this upcoming season. Since he's so young and has had so much success to date, people tend to ignore his flaws, which is fine. We expect QBs to have growing pains early on, so we give him a pass for poor play. But in this case, people are missing a red flag in Herbert's game that may take some time to fix. I'm not going to look through his film, and there's nothing wrong with his game tape, and talent-wise, it's almost like he was built in a lab and bred to be a prototypical NFL QB. But his biggest issue right now that's holding him back from being an elite QB is his consistency. And this is completely normal for a young quarterback. The concerning part is where the inconsistency comes from. It's his efficiency on first and second down. You don't have to watch too many Justin Herbert games to realize that he's elite on third and fourth down. And of course, this is a great sign of future success. But what separates the elite QBs from just good QBs is the consistency on an every down basis. Early down inefficiency is a cause for concern, and whenever the gap between the early down efficiency and the late down efficiency is large, it has been a sign of future regression. Because if you think about it, third and fourth down success, at least at a very high level, is often unsustainable because there are just so many factors that can influence this metric that have nothing to do with QB play. So let me nerd out for a second and give you a visual of this and show you some past QBs who had a large efficiency gap between early downs and late downs and show you how this proved to be an issue moving forward in their careers. So here I am on rbstm.com, which is a site I just found out, but it's pretty useful. I'm sure we've seen these charts. This is kind of how you can create your own, put your own parameters on it and whatnot. There are a lot of 45-year-olds that are freaking out right now about some of these stats and these charts and whatnot. It's not super complex. These are just better stats to use, right? So we got two axes, right? Just like in middle school. On the y-axis, we have EPA per play, which is just the expected points added, which is just a general efficiency metric that kind of takes into account a lot of different factors. If we're just using something like passing yards, we don't really know the value of those yards per se. If a quarterback throws an 8-yard pass on 3rd and 10, they get 8 passing yards. But if they throw an 8-yard pass on 3rd and 6 and convert, they still only get 8 passing yards. There's no differentiator. What EPA per play does is it takes into account the situation. So the EPA on a 3rd and 6 8-yard completion is going to be a lot higher than the EPA on a 3rd and 10 8-yard completion that wouldn't convert the first down. So just think of that as good. It just calculates the value that the quarterback brings to their offense. And then down here we have CPOE, which is completion percentage above expected, which is just kind of like a juiced up completion percentage stat that, again, it takes into account multiple factors, not just if the pass was completed or not, but each pass has a probability of being completed based on how much separation the receiver has, the depth of the throw, if there's pressure or not, a lot of different factors that go into it. So what this stat does, it just calculates how many balls a quarterback completes that they aren't expected to complete. So this kind of weeds out any sort of screen passes from inflating completion percentage and just plays that in general aren't valuable, kind of just takes those out of the equation. So these are great stats. This is the future, I think, of kind of analyzing quarterbacks. So I think it's a perfect way we can see. And with this website, we can kind of split up into per down efficiency, per quarter efficiency, minimum number of plays, things like that. So let me just show you exactly what I'm talking about. These are the 2021 numbers, and we can see highest composite EPA and CPOE is Aaron Rodgers, who won MVP. So there is some validity to these graphs. Not always going to be perfect, but definitely some validity if the MVP had the highest composite. Now, let's split it up by down and see exactly when he is elite. 3rd and 4th down. Just based on watching, we would expect this to be top tier, and it is. He's got the highest 3rd down EPA. If we scroll down here, he's got the 4th highest EPA CPOE composite on 3rd and 4th down. Now let's check 1st and 2nd down. Now you can see here it's much lower. He's more kind of in the bottom half of the league. If you see, you scroll down, his composite is actually 23rd in the league on first and second down with like the Matt Ryans and the Mike Whites and the Carson Wentz's of the world. So that is a significant gap. So now why would it mean any sort of future regression, right? Who cares what down the quarterback is more efficient in, right? Well, let's take a look at some previous years, quarterbacks that had a large split and kind of see how they did. If we go back 5 years, here's a perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. This is the third and fourth down split and the EPA CPOE composite for every quarterback. And look how much of an outlier 2017 Carson Wentz was. And if we go to his first and second down, we can see here that he's significantly lower on first and second down, talking about down to 27th. So this split is massive. And there are a lot of reasons Wentz declined. He had the injury issues. Some people don't think he was mentally tough enough to play quarterback in Philly. But at the end of the day, I think his decline was more predictable than a lot of us thought at the time because he was just so reliant on third and fourth down bailouts for his success and efficiency. And eventually that caught up to him because he wasn't able to improve his consistency on an every down basis and see where he ended up now. And another great thing about this site is it can easily just pull in Excel. So I just pulled a file last few years. Just did a quick VLOOKUp. All right, nothing crazy. I know this is kind of nerdy, but I only did 5 years. I'm a nerd, but I'm not like a virgin. I have a life, I have shit to do. 5 years should be plenty. So here we can see Wentz. All I did was pull in their first and second down EPA and CPOE composite, and then their third and fourth down EPA and CPOE composite. Super easy VLOOKUp, and then I just did the difference between the two. Anything over 0.1 or around 0.1, I deemed as, okay, this is high. Wentz is significantly high. We don't see any this high. But obviously we know going forward, Wentz declined severely because he was not able to improve his early down efficiency. Here's 2018. Two quarterbacks over 0.1 difference between early down and late down were Mahomes and Winston. And just kind of show you how this played out, their next season, their passer rating dipped. Winston dipped from 90.2 to 84.3, and Mahomes went from 113 down to 105. So we can see how kind of this gap in early down and late down efficiency affected the quarterbacks going forward because they weren't able to sustain that level of success. Boom, here's 2019. Now we have some plateauing. So we see Mahomes, Ryan, Derek Carr, their pass ratings plateaued. Jimmy G's pass rating plummeted. But I decided to check one more season, right, to see. And from what I can tell, there's sometimes is a delay in the regression. So next year they might be able to keep the outlier going a little longer, but eventually there is a regression back down to the mean if they're not able to put together consistent efficiency on every down. Here's 2020. So no one over 0.1, but all these are pretty close. So I made note of them. We see Derek Carr, significant drop off, 101.4 to 94. Lamar, massive drop off, 99 down to 87. And then Daniel Jones is outlier. We can't test his next year because that will be this upcoming 2022 season, but I expect him to dip and have a pretty bad year this season. And even so, he increased from 80 to 84. That's kind of just bad to bad. In my opinion, I don't think it discredits this at all. And again, it's not like a guarantee. I'm just showing you like a clear pattern and reasons for that pattern. So finally we get to 2021, and here we have the three quarterbacks with over a 0.1 gap in the EPA CPOE composite between the late down and early down. And again, don't freak out over this big word. It just means like they do better on third and fourth down than they do on first and second down by a significant margin. So these are the three quarterbacks we expect to see a regression from: Kyler, Mahomes, and Herbert. They all kind of fit the criteria for a slight dip in production. So we'll see how this comes. Maybe I'll revisit this video, but that's kind of how I see this right now. It's definitely a concern going forward if it's not fixed. And if we want to relate that directly to kind of Herbert's results and the Chargers' results, if you look at some games that Herbert struggled against the Vikings or against the Ravens, if you look at the game stats for the team, the Chargers struggled significantly on third down in those games. And as a result, Herbert struggled and the Chargers offense as a whole struggled, and it usually led to a loss because the Chargers defense was so bad. If Herbert didn't show up, they had no chance. So it was interesting how we can see kind of a clear transition into actual game results. And it was pretty obvious that when Herbert wasn't converting third downs, he struggled. Luckily, he was pretty great at converting third downs, but when he didn't do it, the Chargers didn't really have any chance to win. And that is 100% because his early down efficiency just wasn't that good. And I think that last game, the Raiders game, maybe the best game of the year other than the Bills-Chiefs playoff game, overall wasn't the best Herbert game. He only completed 53% of his passes. He threw the ball 64 times for only 380 yards, so 6 yards per attempt, well below his average. Only an 80.4 passer rating for that game. So overall wasn't the best game, but I think it's the perfect game to describe Herbert. Because he came out of that like a hero because he made some just heroic plays on fourth down. But the reason they were put in those bad fourth down situations was because he could not complete passes on early downs. But he came up with a big bailout throw when he needed to, and props to that. That's a sign of a gamer, and that's what you want from your franchise quarterback for sure. But I think it kind of illustrates exactly why Herbert has been a little overrated, and also why this could be a cause for concern going forward if he isn't able to clean up the early down efficiency. It's hard to sustain having a game like that where you're just completing a ton of 4th and 10s, a ton of like 3rd and longs. Even, if he's the best quarterback ever, it's just hard to do. It's just hard to sustain. Chargers fans, I know if you're still watching, you're probably pissed. But if you're still watching, I know he did improve his early down efficiency as the season went on. So that could be a sign that he's going to do better next season. And then if that's the case and he can keep his 3rd and 4th down high efficiency, you're looking at an MVP candidate. But if he's not able to improve on 1st and 2nd down and his 3rd, 4th down regresses back to the mean slightly, that could mean a regression. So that's how thin the line is. That's how tough it is to really be an elite quarterback. And that's why we sometimes see these younger, talented guys kind of fall off the face of the earth because they have these parts of the game that people don't really realize. So overall, that is the main thing I'm going to be looking at this year. What does Justin Herbert do on 1st and 2nd down? Can he clean up his game? Can he be more consistent and turn himself into an elite quarterback? Or will he kind of come crashing down to earth? All I know is I can't wait to see it. Thanks for tuning in. If you hated this video, comment below. If you enjoyed it, toss me a like. I also have a ton more things coming out as the season's getting closer and closer, so definitely hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in to the end of this. I'll catch you guys soon.